Did you watch Full House? Is that are you too young for Full House?
I didn't watch it. I watched it like not religiously, but I've seen plenty of episodes of Full House.
Oh, well, not enough to know who Steve is. Yowzers. Okay. Well, shit. I guess I'll just politely fuck myself.
Brunch.
Hit it, boys. Remote episode. We're doing an iconic new revolutionary thing where we're recording not only in different places, but before the episode comes out.
Crazy. We're doubling down on the gimmicks.
We are doubling down on really reinventing technology. I want to start with this. Where are you at on watching 365 movies in 365 days? Because I have a take on it.
I think that I'm 27 deep, which is I'm falling behind. It's gonna happen, but as long as I'm in with within like a doable range, I think I'm in good shape.
I think that I have already seen 365 movies this year. I have watched so many movies. This,
what is it? Are they 365 movies that you've never seen before?
Okay, so I'd forgotten if there was that staple, because if it's movies that you've never seen before, then it's tougher, obviously. If it's movies that you've seen before, then you knock out 600 of those
single night before bed, or Paddington 2. Like, I would knock that shit out in 2 months.
I am doing some rewatching. I watched The Social Network the other day for some reason, and the kid from Jurassic Park, who's also John Deacon, is in that movie.
Is he really? Who does he play?
He plays the their roommate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you watch The Social Network like every few months just so that you can brush up on the details of the bar scene so you can just tell everybody.
So I can piss people off. The one where they're at Tavern in the Square.
Yes, yeah. This is the bar.
That's where they did it. That's where that scene is. Yeah. It's whatever your local Tavern in the Square is, Boston people, just loudly say, if you're at Tavern in the Square across from North Station, say loudly, this is where they shot it. People might argue that it was at the Thirsty Scholar, but just tell them, hey, maybe you need to see The Social Network again. On the subject of movies, actually, I'll just get this off my chest. I meant to bring this up last episode while I was watching a lot of John Wick. Do you want your funeral to be in the rain?
Every funeral is in the rain.
Every movie funeral is in the rain,
except for the funeral in Cold Pursuit, because it happens in the snow. Because everything in Cold Pursuit happens in the snow. We'll get to that later.
The funeral scene in Cold Pursuit. We're going to talk a lot about Cold Pursuit in this episode. A lot about Cold Pursuit. A lot about Stellan Skarsgård. Where's the overlap? We'll tell you coming up next episode of Brunch. We
on the other side of the break.
There's a ridiculous scene in that movie where they're at the funeral of somebody and the person is leaving, skipping town after, and they're in the graveyard, and the graveyard is off the side of the road. She has her luggage with her in the graveyard, and then storms out and goes and gets her car. I'm like, yo, you didn't need to bring your luggage down with you for the funeral part. Leave that at the car.
Making a statement.
This is not a populated area. You can leave your bags alone for a couple of minutes. So yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth on whether or not I even want to be buried. I don't think that we're gonna die in a make arrangements after kind of way. I think that we're all gonna die at the same time, and I can't imagine that there will be arrangements made after. But if there are, even if you don't bury me, even if you cremate me, dealer's choice. Do whatever you want. I think on an earlier episode, I expressed my desire to be flattened. Whatever you're going to do to me, I want a scene where everyone is in all black with umbrellas and it's raining.
So I've said this before on the show, but it won't be raining at my funeral because I want my funeral to be indoors. I want them just to lie my body on either like a bar or a pool table.
So you want to do an Irish wake.
An Irish wake, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't care what they do with my body after that. They can throw it in an incinerator for all I care.
Just let's be derivative even in death, Pete. Let's do so Irish wake set to Mr. Brightside, recreate that classic viral video, but it will be with you instead. Like no one knows who that guy is, right?
I don't even know what viral video you're talking about.
You don't remember? You don't know? It's like the biggest like Irish wake thing ever. I don't even know if they had the. What's that?
Playing Mr. Brightside?
Yeah, you haven't seen that video?
I don't think
it's in Ireland, I think, and they are going. They're all singing Mr. Brightside, and they're going crazy. I don't even know if they even had the body there, but I mean, the star of that was the Killers, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. If you have an Irish wake and you're not Irish, is that cultural appropriation?
Yes, and the penalty for it is death, which you're retroactively serving.
What are they going to do? Kill you?
Yeah, that's how they take care of you. But yeah, I actually realized I don't own an umbrella. The only time I have an umbrella is when somebody leaves their umbrella at my apartment. But I actually should invest in a fancy umbrella just in case I'm ever at a funeral, because
I think I bought in like 2 umbrellas in my life, and I've used them, and they're great while you're using them. But then you get somewhere and you're dry and you're like, but fuck, I have this umbrella. And so I just throw the umbrella away whenever I get to where I need to go.
Yeah, well, it's just be a what's it called guy. Be a poncho guy. Get those. They fit in your back pocket. You can buy 1,000 of them on Amazon for like $3. That's the move. Before we get to other movies, you want to do Grammys or Ray Romano next? Because we got updates on both.
Let's hear the Ray Romano one first. That's more intriguing to me.
So Ray Romano has jumped on the Netflix special train. Did you watch it?
I watched about 20 minutes of it.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy about it. The jokes weren't very good. It's like his first special in like 20 years, so I'll cut him some slack. I did really enjoy the intro to the special where he's just walking through the streets of New York. Such a flex.
Yeah. So Ray Romano did a special, and it wasn't just his first stand-up in 20 years. It was his first time speaking in 20 years. And you want to talk about a flex? He mailed it in so much. It is incredible. Like, I honestly, so I watched the whole thing. I fell asleep the first time I was watching it, so I had to rewatch the second half. I cannot stress enough that this guy just had no material, but it wasn't like a Dave Attell and Jeff Ross thing where they're like, we're going to go up and we're going to bust everyone's chops and that's going to be the show. Right. He just went up and he was like
a bunch of lame ass jokes.
Hey, oh yeah, just so lame. He started a joke with, I'm not gay, but it was just really lame, terrible, not rehearsed, totally mailed in stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm Ray Romano. I'm super rich.
He mailed it in so bad that he didn't even book a venue to book for his special. He just like showed up at the Comedy Cellar and was like, I'm going to do an hour and here's my special, which I thought was kind of cool that he was just like, I'm not making a big deal of this. I'm just going to tape my special at the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah.
Like pretty cool. But I mean, it clearly was not that big of a deal to him.
He did have one joke that I'll tell you, it got me, made me laugh out loud. Very funny. It's towards the end, and this was like his big joke, I think. He said, I was walking around New York City the other day, and a guy came up to me and he said, "Hey man, I'll give you a blowjob for $2." And I politely said, "No thanks, man." And he said, $2. Like, come on, man.
What a deal!
It's just $2. Come on, how are you gonna say it's only $2? But the way that he delivered the like $2, very funny stuff. That's that. Check out our movie reviews. We're starting to put them up for the Oscars. You can check them out if you're a Patreon subscriber. Do we have those unlocked for everybody?
I think they're unlocked for everybody, but we're also doing we're releasing the video, video elements and the video reviews. Those are only for Patreon people.
That's for, you gotta have both Patreon and a device to view the video. We don't.
Congrats on being rich. If you
we will not supply the videos. We talked in the Bohemian Rhapsody thing. We came up with the idea of AOing, and it's been growing on me, and I actually want to do it.
Somebody replied to a hater that we had on Twitter. Somebody did not take kindly to our criticism of Bohemian Rhapsody, and one of our listeners replied and said, like, sounds like you've got an AO. I love it.
So AOing is where you go, in case you haven't seen the video and you're not a Patreon subscriber. Give you this one for free. AOing is where you go to hospital and sit in a waiting room and ask AO to people as they walk out to determine whether or not they've just been diagnosed with an incurable disease. And I actually want to do it, but I want to do it all the way. I don't want to do it like that kid did it. So in the movie, Freddie gets diagnosed with AIDS 2 years before he's diagnosed with AIDS, and he's walking out after being diagnosed, and a kid goes, "Ayo," and he responds, "Ayo." Much like everything else in that movie, that was some weak ass shit. I'm gonna go to AO, and I am gonna be like in the zone. I'm gonna do it all the way. Someone's gonna walk, like an old woman is gonna walk out, and as she's walking out, she's gonna hear like "Lead on a
like the Live Aid callback. AOs.
No, like do like the real one, the friend. You
got to do the like chest out, hand reaching,
and then if she does it back, I'll do "fuck you," and because that's what he does. He does it a bunch of times, and then when they get it right, he goes "fuck you." Or when he's going, he does like scales, and he does it ascending and then descending. And when he's going really high, he goes, "I can't go any higher than that." And then they all laugh, and they're going to be like, "Are you here with anybody?"
And then it's going to end with you getting carried out of the hospital by security.
Yeah. No, but if they didn't understand, if they were like, "What the hell was that?" I'd be like, "I'm sorry. Were you just diagnosed with a disease?" And if they were like, "Yeah," be like, "Okay, swag." So I got that right. Cool. You just didn't understand that pop culture reference, idiot. Double bad news for you.
Culture yourself.
Right. So, what did you think of the Grammys?
I did not watch the Grammys.
You didn't? Yeah.
I didn't watch a second of the Grammys.
What did you watch instead? Oh, you were watching In Order of Disappearance.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. I spent my time much better. How was it?
It was very good. It was mostly performances. Alicia Keys is
two pianos.
Yeah, which like
weird flex, but okay.
That's not a flex. If you can play piano, then do people know you use both hands to play piano?
What was more impressive? Rami Malek playing piano upside down, playing Bohemian Rhapsody upside down, or Alicia Keys playing two pianos at once?
Well, she was playing one piano using two pianos. Like I don't think that anyone has reacted thinking it was particularly impressive. It was like a kind of neat visual, but that's no different than playing one piano. Like your left hand goes one area, your right hand goes the other. That's what she did. Nobody that wasn't impressive. Nobody, but what was good was I was afraid people were going to be like, "Oh my god, this is incredible!" Because I mean, I think Alicia Keys did a great job as host, and I like a lot of her songs. But I mean, she's not a good singer, and that's becoming more and more widely acknowledged. But so in some areas, she's overrated, and I didn't want to have to point out another area or another thing that she did that wasn't impressive. But yeah, I don't think the people got carried away with the piano thing. But she was a good host. I think she was high or something, but she was just really, really just like chill and relaxed, and didn't overdo anything. Kind of, they just packed the show with performances, so those all kind of spoke for themselves. it was basically the entire show was just women performances. And after the show, Janelle Monáe kind of acknowledged it. I was waiting for somebody to point out, like, yo, like they took dudes away this year, which awesome move, great flex, and okay. After the show, Janelle Monáe tweeted something to the effect of, like, just have women do everything. And I was like, yeah, sounds pretty good. Sounds like things might go a little smoother if they did. But yeah, it was great performances. Janelle Monáe was killer. There was an awesome Dolly Parton tribute that Katy Perry only ruined for like a second before they pushed her out of the way. And Kacey Musgraves won Album of the Year, which was so well deserved.
I didn't listen to really any music this year, but I did listen to Golden Hour, and that album rules.
Right, like it was an instance of the best album going to possibly the best album. It was. I definitely thought it was the best album that came out last year.
I did see that, like, a lot of people were pissed that Kacey Musgraves won for some reason, but I also saw that, like, all the people that complained about Kacey Musgraves winning were like, who the fuck is Kacey Musgraves? They got put in their fucking
place. Oh yeah, I felt really good. I felt really good about the reaction to Shea Serrano's tweet.
Oh yes, that was like a particular one where I saw, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, Shea Serrano said that Kacey Musgraves winning was like a fucking buzzer beater from the parking lot to ruin the Grammys. And I was like, no, not even fucking close. And then I went through the mentions, and everybody was like, yo, Shea, I like you, but this is a fucking terrible opinion. That album is unbelievable. And like all the responses were that. And I felt so good about humanity.
Because that tweet was such a, like, aren't we all just like on Twitter tweet? You know, it was just, it was the most Twitter tweet I've ever fucking seen. It was.
And Twitter loves to complain about fucking anything. And
right.
They'll find any reason to complain about, like,
and it had a sports reference.
Especially big awards. Like, especially when, like, music and movies, like, art's subjective for the most part, and everybody wants their favorite thing to win. But the fact that, like, people who may not have been rooting for Kacey Musgraves came to her defense and were like, yo, that's a dope album. Shut up. That's
yeah. All. Well, I get mad when people, I always go back to the Chris Rock thing. Anybody who makes up their mind on something without knowing what it is a fucking fool. So
Green Book, man. So,
like, unless you even dabbled, like, heard a couple songs off of everything, you're not really like, it's why I didn't used to watch the Oscars, because I didn't see those movies. So if I only saw one movie and I hoped that it won, and then another movie won,
you can't, like, scream.
My reaction was like, oh shit, I guess I didn't see the right movie, because it seems like this one's better.
Yeah, so that's why we see every movie now, so that we can
experts,
like, be very confident in yelling at people about being wrong.
Yeah, I very strongly felt that Golden Hour should have won, but also Dirty Computer by Janelle Monáe was nominated, and I was happy that was, because that I thought was the second best album. So this was a very interesting year where on the whole, I didn't think all the best albums were nominated, but, like, the two best ones were, and that never happens. So I thought that overall they did a very good job. There weren't any like, terrible, weird, uncomfortable moments other than J-Lo doing the
Motown medley,
which was so weird. Like, man, like, you could have had Eminem do the Motown tribute and it would have been more appropriate. That guy had an album come out this year. Anything.
Right. Yeah.
But
I do feel a little bit robbed that it's we're not getting, like, a classic DJ rants about music thing this year.
Yeah, I mainly just it's turned into a DJ rants about Twitter thing, because I was getting tired as the Grammys were going on, and I was ready to go to sleep, and then I was so fired up after I saw the best album get rewarded, and Kacey Musgraves, who's just a fucking boss,
superstar,
win. And people react to it by being like, "Oh, I don't know who she is. She sucks. Bye." And I was like, "Oh, fuck you, man! Like, why you?"
There's arguably nothing worse than the people who watch.
And I like Shea Serrano, but I was like, dude, you're doing that for retweets. Right. Instead of actually putting on a song. It takes 10 seconds to send that tweet. It takes 3 minutes to listen to one song by her. Just try it out.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than people who watch like those award shows and then like basically brag about being uninformed or like brag about not knowing who somebody is. Like, I don't even know who this person is.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, you're watching a music show. Maybe you should listen to more music.
Yeah, one of my friends was like, I've never heard of Kacey Musgraves before this show, and a lot of people said that, but I was like,
cool. Then
have you watched any of the?
You can't have a take about her winning best album.
She's won in other years, so like,
you automatically out yourself. Like you automatically spoil yourself as like a person who can't weigh in on the subject. If you're like, I've never heard of Kacey Musgraves, so she can't win best album of the year. It's like, well, no, because you clearly haven't listened to her shit, so you can't have a valid opinion on this.
I was directed to a tweet of somebody who said, album of the year means that your album dominated throughout the year and that people couldn't get away from it. And they just gave the album of the year to an artist that I've never heard of. And again, like it's such a weird flex saying like, I haven't heard of this great critically acclaimed thing. So like, do you not follow like Pitchfork or Rolling Stone or Consequence of Sound, any of those things? Like anyway, that's a weird flex, but he said album of the year means that your album dominated throughout the year, and I responded and I said it absolutely doesn't mean that. It means you're thinking of like the Billboard Awards or something like that. This just means what the Academy deemed to be the best album, and he quote tweeted it with, "You look like a house shoe." Don't know what that means, but he had a lot of followers, so I'll be honest. I got a few people tweeting at me saying like, "Ooh, sorry, man, you got killed there," and I was like, "Yeah, I kind of look like a house shoe." It's all right. He got me.
Yeah, I mean that's such a stupid thing. Like just because an album is not
also,
made.
So do you want Taylor Swift to win every year? Because I'm pretty sure you're going to get people like me screaming when that happens.
And I mean, look at I know it's two separate award shows, but like, look at the Oscars. Like there's not comic book movies winning every year or being nominated for Best Picture every year. Those typically dominate the box office every year. But it doesn't make them the best movie. It just means that it's like a very palatable, like popular thing that people like.
But again, it's the Chris Rock thing. Like, rather than saying, let me look up what album of the year is supposed to signify, I'm going to put out like a very kind of relatable, here's why this is wrong thing, and everyone will retweet it. And again, that's what I get mad when people, if there's holes in a tweet, like, or if you're like, wait, is this completely correct? Does this make sense? Is this like, are these premises real? You can look that up, man, before you hit retweet.
Just send that tweet on the internet, man. There are other websites that you can check out.
So I guess you did kind of get the rant, because I was pretty worked up, because I mean I would have. What I'm trying to think of the nominees that wouldn't have elicited the who's that? Because if Janelle Monáe won, people would have been like, I've heard the name, but what does she sing again? And I would have had the same exact meltdown. I'd been like, she was nominated for Album of the Year. Maybe it's worth checking out.
Everybody would have been like, that girl from the Fun Song won. That would have been so annoying.
Yeah, the girl from the Fun Song. I always forget that she was in that song. Her performance, look up her performance. A, God, what a babe. B, it was very good. All the performances were really good. St. Vincent and Dua Lipa, is that it?
I think it's Lipa. Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa?
Dua Lipa used to date the kid from the lead singer from Lanny. So,
really?
Yeah, so she won Best New Artist.
Yeah.
She also inspired my favorite new artist this year.
Who's your favorite new artist?
Lanny.
Ah, nice. She was the muse.
Yes, exactly.
Because they got to humping. But yeah, I did not have massive complaints this year. I was happy. Shouts out to Greta Van Fleet for ruining rock, because they put out an album so bad that the Grammys were like, oh, wow, this is bad. Rock sucks now. Let's not put the award for that album, for that category during our show. And now that we've decided rock is the worst, let's make Greta Van Fleet the face of it and give them the award.
It's like inspired people like Mike from Woburn, who previously in the past have been like, the Grammys suck. They mean absolutely nothing in the world. Like, look at all these people that are getting Grammys now. They suck. What happened to the Grammys? And now Greta Van Fleet wins a Grammy, and he's like, look, see, told you, Greta Van Fleet, good.
I'm thinking about trying out a new move on the Greta Van Fleet fans. Check this out. I'm going to tweet at them because every now and then they still tweet at me, even unsolicited. So I want to tweet at a couple of them and say, okay, so this is very embarrassing, but heard a song on the radio, and I thought it was pretty good, suspected it was Greta Van Fleet and was torn, looked it up, and sure as shit, it's whatever song by Greta Van Fleet. I actually thought it was pretty good. If I liked this song, are there any other songs by them that I should check out? And if they respond with, check out this, and this, I'm going to respond, cool, I'll be sure to never listen to those songs because Greta Van Fleet fucking sucks. Totally dunk on him, bro. Totally dunk on him. Yeah. I think I might do it. Speaking of classic brunch tweets, I don't know how, but how did Zip Zap Zorp come back into our life?
You did it. Oh no! Somebody quote tweeted and said this is the peak of comedy Twitter.
Oh right, yeah, right. Comedy Twitter peaked with this and has never been the same. I'm gonna be honest. I'll agree. I look back. Man. Yeah, I think
I went back and listened to the Zip Zap Zorp episode. And that shit was great.
Oh, if memory serves, we couldn't even speak. We were laughing so hard.
Yeah, dude, I kept complaining about how bad my stomach hurt. I guess I was like sick at the time, and I was like, my stomach, my chest hurts.
Oh yeah, that was so funny. And then I forgot about when it's a playoff atmosphere, but ooga booga booga.
Yes. I'm so mad at you too now because Jimmy Fallon like a couple months ago had an absolutely ridiculous outburst at the Rangers game, and it would have been so much better if you did it for that too.
Oh really?
Like everything Jimmy Fallon does should now just be like ooga booga booga or dumb shit like that.
It's when blank but nonsense.
Yeah. Really,
that's like I mean we'll talk sometimes where people will send tweets that are just so dumb and formulaic. Like one of our friends joked, I remember does anybody ever eat food does anybody have anxiety and also sometimes eat meals? It's just like some of the dumb tweets that they just look like funny tweets, even though they aren't funny jokes at all. But you're just like, oh, I relate to that because I also sometimes walk or whatever.
I also breathe air occasionally. Retweet.
Yes. Shall we get into Cold Pursuit, because our week has basically been changed by Cold Pursuit.
It absolutely has.
Possibly our lives.
Let's do Cold Pursuit and In Order of Disappearance. But first, let's talk about Robinhood. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free, while other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade.
You said Robinhood?
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Robinhood, huh? Robinhood just doesn't charge any commission fees, so you can trade stocks and keep all of your profits. Plus, there's no account minimum deposit needed to get started, so you can start investing at any level. The simple, intuitive design of Robinhood makes investing easy for newcomers.
Robinhood, huh?
Yep. And experts alike. View easy-to-understand charts and market data and place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. You can also view stock collections such as 100 most popular or 100 least popular. I don't think that last one's a thing, but it should be. With Robinhood, you can learn how to invest in the market as you build your portfolio. Discover new stocks, track your favorite companies, and get custom notifications for price movements so you never miss the right moment to invest. And Robinhood is giving
Robinhood, huh?
Yes. Robinhood is giving listeners of Brunch a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. So sign up at brunch.robinhood.com.
Robinhood, huh?
Yep. That's brunch.robinhood.com.
Robinhood, huh?
Yep, nailed it. All right.
Cool. So we'll have to check out Robinhood.
Robinhood.
So
before we get into Cold Pursuit and In Order of Disappearance, it would be a real crime if we did not mention the Aladdin trailer that came out during the fucking Grammys.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
I just saw the picture, and I don't want to see this movie, man.
Now I don't either. I'm for sure going to see it, and I'm still intrigued. But holy shit, this movie looks so bad.
Wow, they had to have sunk $1 bajillion into it.
100%. Like, this is a massive project, and I don't know. Like, even if it's like a B project, because obviously The Lion King is number one. That's going to make $1 billion. It's going to be like the biggest Disney project that's coming out for a while. Outside of the superhero movies and Star Wars. But like, this Aladdin thing is still a really big deal. And it looks so bad. Every part of it looks terrible. Like, Aladdin is not sexy enough. Jafar, not evil enough. Will Smith looks fucking terrible as Genie.
He does look very bad.
Looks good.
Yikes. I'm just not as... Maybe I will get excited, but like all the buzz, I'm just not experiencing it with this movie.
As disappointed as I am that like Will Smith looks like an absolute bag of shit as the Genie, and maybe they'll change it, maybe they'll make some adjustments. It really felt like that was thrown together, because you remember the controversy, I guess you might say, when they released the pictures through like that magazine.
Yeah.
And Will Smith wasn't blue, and people were like, what the fuck, is he just not going to be blue? A lot of people speculated that they decided to make him blue after like the reactions to that release.
So then they just like color corrected it or something?
Yeah. So like, I'm wondering if they just threw something together and that's why it looks like shit.
Ew.
That would be crazy. But it would explain why it looks so bad. But yeah, I think as disappointed as I am in the Genie, I'm also just as disappointed that Aladdin is not sexier.
Yeah.
We gotta take a look, because you'll definitely agree with me that this guy is not sexy enough to be Aladdin. Aladdin's was a sexy cartoon, wasn't he?
Yeah, well that I mean, it was Steve, so
Steve?
Yeah.
Steve who? Steve Aladdin?
Full House.
What?
From Full House.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know Steve from Full House? What the hell's wrong with you?
No.
Oh yeah, this guy's just fine. I remember thinking that at the time. Yeah, he's just okay. But no, Steve from Full House. You don't know who Steve is?
Nope.
Did you watch Full House? Is that? Are you too young for Full House?
I didn't watch it. I watched it not religiously, but I've seen plenty of episodes of Full House.
Oh, well, not enough to know who Steve is. Yowzers. Okay. Well, shit. I guess I'll just politely fuck myself.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do Cold Pursuit.
If you want to really fuck yourself, you can go see Cold Pursuit, which if you can get past Liam Neeson being the worst at publicity ever, just horrifyingly bad. That was like years ago. Remember when he was on SportsCenter and he was they were like, we're here with Jets fan Liam Neeson to talk about his new movie, blah, blah, blah. So, and he's like, oh yeah, it's great to be here. Go Jets. And they're like, so what do you think about the team this year? And he was like,
oh, I don't watch the Jets.
No, he was like, oh shit, we're going to have to cut. He was like, I don't know. I don't really watch the Jets.
Oh, and they were
live,
like, right?
It was live. Yeah. And we thought, oh man, Liam Neeson, how could you?
Get worse than that?
Oh, yep, can't say anything worse than that. That's going to, holy shit, oh my god. Nope, he can.
Like, nope. In my younger days, man.
Right. He was like, yeah, wait till you get a load of this. wait till you get a load of this. But I was upset, you see. So, Cold Pursuit is I'll tell you, I've seen it twice. I watched it twice.
Well, technically, you've watched it 3 times because you watched An Order of Disappearance, which is the exact same fucking movie.
So here's the thing. So Cold Pursuit is a movie that came out the other day, and we learned after seeing it that it was a remake of a Norwegian film called In Order of Disappearance, starring Stellan Skarsgård. So we saw Cold Pursuit, and we're like, holy shit, what a weird like disjointed movie, because it's the first 40 minutes of it is just Taken. It's just a revenge movie. They kill his boy, so he goes and he starts killing everybody. The last 2/3 of the movie is the weirdest dark comedy you've ever seen in your life. And because the dark comedy starts so late, you don't realize until like the movie's almost over, you're like, this is a dark comedy, isn't it? Very similar to like when I saw John Wick for the first time, except it's not my fault for being dumb. It's the movie's fault.
Absolutely.
It's just a perplexingly weird movie. Overall, I would say like it's a bad movie, right?
Oh, it was painful to get through. But like
it's brilliant. I feel like it's brilliant though. It's a brilliantly bad movie.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. Like, I watched Cold Pursuit, and I absolutely hated it. I was just struggling to get through it.
I wasn't.
No, like, I thought...
I was very entertained.
I honestly was considering walking out. Like, that's how bad I thought it was.
Oh, it was so entertainingly bad, though.
I mean, it was preposterous. And I just, like, was not in the mood to watch a movie that was that poorly put together. And it was very, very poorly put together. But what I will say is, I went home and I was like, that movie is so ridiculous. I absolutely need to see what it was based on. Like, I absolutely need to see the original because
what got lost in translation?
Exactly. And so I watched In Order of Disappearance. That's exactly the same fucking movie, and I was enjoying myself watching In Order of Disappearance. So I think once you have an idea of like what you're getting into, then you can enjoy it. But I was legitimately excited to see Cold Pursuit. I thought that I did know that like it would have a bit of dark comedy to it, but the way that it was presented in the first 40 minutes was like, this is a movie that takes itself seriously, and there are like tiny...
It's your classic revenge movie.
Very sort of funny moments sprinkled into like the first 40 minutes. So I was like, oh, this isn't really a dark comedy.
But that happens in any revenge movie, though. So it wasn't
right.
So those bits, I guess, overall were part of the dark comedy thing. But as you're seeing them, you're just like, oh, it's the comic relief in a normal revenge like action.
It did not set the tone.
Yeah. So
in the first hour.
So you mentioned that it's the same thing as the Stellan Skarsgård movie. It is literally like line for line, scene for scene, word for word, the same thing. I went back and saw Cold Pursuit again after. Here are the differences between the movies. In Cold Pursuit, they add in a cop storyline where a cop is figuring out what's going on. There is a John Elway versus Peyton Manning debate that exists for 3 seconds.
I wrote down Cold Pursuit is In Order of Disappearance, but with football jokes.
I also wrote down lunch was a difference. What would that be?
Lunch was a difference?
Did they have lunch at some point?
I guess.
These are your notes. Oh, it's autocorrect. It was Limbo was what I was trying to write. The character Limbo. One of in this movie in Cold Pursuit, they make him work in a like a bridal shop. But here's what the movie is. They kill Liam Neeson's son, and drug dealers kill him, even though the kid did nothing wrong. So he's gonna get them all, and he's gonna take them all down. Concurrently, you're getting the storyline of the head drug dealer, and eventually they kind of bring the storylines together. And the head drug dealer is a psycho. He is a super duper duper vegan who won't put anything bad in his body. And this is the best part. He's played
Tom
by
Brady.
What's that?
He's Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Oh, because the Elway Manning thing.
Tom Brady.
Yeah. No, the best part is he is played by presumably the Sports Center voiceover guy. Coors Light six pack. That's how the guy talks the whole time.
Now that I just said that, this character is exactly Tom Brady. It is a sort of psychopath person who is crazy strict about his diet and has split custody of his son with his ex-girlfriend.
Okay, well... well, it's his ex-wife. Oh, there's another difference in the movie. In Cold Pursuit, she, after the son gets kidnapped, the mother comes and she's like, why did you pick up our son from school today? It was my day to pick him up. And she's yelling at him and she's like, you're going to lose custody. You're going to do this. You're going to do that, blah, blah. And the bad guy, Viking is his name, takes a swing at her. And she ducks it and grabs him by the balls so hard and like ruins his life for about 20 seconds. And it's awesome.
And embarrasses him in front of his friends.
Yeah.
Like his henchmen.
Yeah.
And it was like the greatest satisfying thing in the world.
Yeah. Because you've just been waiting the whole movie for someone to do something to this guy.
Right.
In the original.
Wait, so I just want to preface this with like, you watched In Order of Disappearance first. And No. First before me, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was watching In Order of Disappearance. You're like, okay, wait till you get to that scene. And so the entire movie is pretty much the exact same as Cold Pursuit. So I was like, oh, God, how are they going to approach this scene?
Right, like how is she going to grab him in this one?
Right. They get there, and he just fucking levels her.
Yeah, he just
fucking slugs the hell out of her.
So you want to talk about problematic in a movie? Like, obviously, like, there are like bad guys do bad things or whatever, but I feel like it's problematic in a dark comedy to have that, because the comedy is usually accompanied, or the action and stuff is usually accompanied by some kind of funny things here and there, and like you're supposed to laugh every time something happens in this movie, but that happens and you're like, wait, did you think that? Are you trying to tell me that was supposed to be a funny thing?
Right. There was no comic relief to that moment. Like,
which brings me to my overall point between these two movies. This movie had an exact template off of what they could change to make it an actual good movie. And they were like, nope, let's just do the exact same thing as that movie.
There was no comic relief to that the scene where he hits, like, I was expecting like maybe a henchman would deliver like a line or there'd be some pushback there. Honestly, I was like, the movie is so ridiculous that I was honestly expecting like wouldn't have been shocked if there was like a death card after he slugs his wife. Like, you know how they have those death card scenes, though, like the black slates,
like pirates.
No. Like after they kill. So
yeah, like card, yeah.
Like after he slugged his wife, I was like, oh God, they're not going to come up with like a fucking death card scene right here, and they didn't. But like, I honestly wouldn't have put it past them.
The original was better up until that, and you're like, okay, I've given up trying to take either of these movies seriously. But
Cold Pursuit, I think, at the end of the day, I have a hard time saying that it's a better movie because, again, you just mentioned the fact they had a blueprint to be like, okay, here's this movie. We like it. We're going to remake it, but we're going to make it better. They didn't make it better. They just fucking did the exact same shit. But like the villain in Cold Pursuit is better. The kid in Cold Pursuit is better.
Yes.
I like Stellan Skarsgård better than Liam Neeson.
Agree. So here's what I wish. I wish that Stellan Skarsgård would had done an English version of it. So he did the Norwegian movie and then did the English version. And then in order to complete the trade, Liam Neeson has to do that movie in Norwegian. And Liam Neeson can't speak English basically outside of reading lines from a movie, seemingly. So it'd be very funny to watch Liam Neeson do a movie in Norwegian.
Yeah.
You would have been like, that. You just grunt.
It was such a wild movie, all over the place.
But here's the thing. Here's the biggest thing is after you've seen the movie and you're thinking about it for a few hours, you ask yourself, was this movie just a 2-hour setup for the funniest joke to ever end a movie? So the movie walks off on just the most outrageous little joke, and you're like, was all of this just to make this small little joke? Can we acknowledge it? Can we talk about what the joke is? Because I have thoughts on it.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay, so there's a scene where all of the rival drug gang go skiing, and one of them goes parachuting, where he just like runs.
Wind sailing, right?
Wind sailing, yeah, whatever. And then the movie ends. They're driving after killing all the bad guys. Liam Neeson and the rival like drug lord are driving in the snow plow thing that has the chute and all that stuff. And the guy who went wind sailing wind sails into the chute and dies. And
wind sails right into this plow, gets chopped up and blown out of like the snowblower thing.
Yeah.
Like there's colors of the parachute.
Yep.
There's blood. Like it's disgusting.
And that's the end of the movie.
That's
the end of this guy had no lines other than they said, "Are you sure you know how to do this?" And he said, "I was born to fly, white boy." That's his only line. And that was how the movie walked off, by just killing this random dude. But here's the cool thing about it. And I noticed this on the second watch. That guy, so they go skiing in the morning.
Yes, no, I noticed that the first time.
Yeah.
I noticed this the first watch. I wrote down in my notes.
Do you know how long he was in the air?
At least 12 hours.
Almost a day, because they went skiing in the morning, then they go to like the house, then they go to the compound, they get in a shootout, and Liam Neeson drives the drug lord back, and they're doing his job.
Overnight.
And this is overnight, yes. And then
the sun's coming up.
The sun is coming up as that guy. So that guy was in the air for almost a day. Almost a day.
I realized this beforehand, but like just hearing it coming out of your mouth is so fucking preposterous that like the walk off moment of this movie, the entire moment apparently that this movie was building up to,
yes,
was like the biggest fucking plot hole, like biggest issue that is so identifiable.
It was just so
makes no sense.
But I think that they're like, yeah, well, that's like the cool part.
He was born to fly, a white boy. He did it for a day.
He did it for a day, seemingly while pissing his pants and having it freeze to him until he died. There also was one little joke. They did have fun with the death cards more than in Order of Disappearance did. They added in a guy who just, the whole scene is just obviously going to get killed, and they had him in the scene just to build up to the kind of quick death card, and that was funny.
Yeah, the janitor.
Yeah, the janitor. Also, Dominic Lombardozzi, who I'm usually not a big fan of, I thought was great in this.
He was great, yeah.
Yeah.
He was part of the random gay storyline that, like, they added nothing to the movie.
The two of the drug guys were having an affair. They added in.
Wasn't even necessarily an affair. They were just dating.
Yeah, you and I have gotten into the affair argument before. I mean, if they're secretly dating, that's an affair.
Disagree. It's a secret relationship.
That's an affair.
An affair is cheating.
Oh, you're so dumb. Yes, that's it. You're so dumb. You think that an affair has to be. Oh, no.
Yes, I'm standing by that.
You're standing by being incorrect. So anyway, they do have to establish that because they have to make Dominic Lombardozzi's character turn, and
right.
So they kill his lover, and that's why he turns on them.
Okay, so I guess that does add a somewhat of an element to the story.
The second time I saw it, when they showed him on the phone diming out his Viking, I heard a kid say to his elder, "Oh, is he a bad guy?" I want to be like, I want to get up and be like, they're all bad guys. It's about drug. They're all criminals killing each other. Everybody in the movie is a bad. They showed Laura Dern for 5 minutes in the beginning of the movie.
And
once
she was
they
a bad
stopped showing
guy.
her, bad guy. It was all bad guy time.
She was a bad guy too. She just like left her husband after
he started murdering everybody
for no reason.
After he started murdering everybody,
she didn't know that.
Yeah, but so
I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that in the Norwegian movie, the Viking, who is not the Viking, what is he called?
The Count. He's coked up Eric Carlson.
Yes, I was gonna say he looks exactly like Eric Carlson
if he did drugs.
Yes,
but so that was weird. They still make him a vegan in Order of Disappearance, but they give him druggy eyes.
Yeah, and they change his name, and like that guy looks way more like a Viking than
true
than the actual Viking. So
I thought the guy who played Viking was awesome.
Yeah, I thought that he was really good.
Because I love a ridiculous villain, and he was so ridiculous. They added in a couple things in Cold Pursuit, but I think the move should have been to just take away things. Yeah. like take away the last 2/3 of the movie and just make it. But I'm glad they didn't though, because that's where it gets so ridiculous. Also, when he's trying to find out who the other people in the gang are, everybody gives up names immediately. Yeah. It's great. He finds a guy, punches him, and says, "Who's blah, blah, blah?" And they tell him exactly that. And then Liam Neeson kills them. In all of the death scenes are absurd. The shot of Limbo being shot in the dress store is incredible. It's slow motion. He like falls into these dresses. That's
the I think that's the only reason that they had it be like a wedding dress store, was so that they could have that shot of him standing in front of a bunch of white dresses where blood spatters all over it and he falls into the dresses.
Shouts out also to bootleg David Harbour for playing the character Santa.
Oh, right, yeah.
You look just like him.
What was your favorite death scene?
Well, I mean, what's the guy's name at the last guy that dies? Because that is the best death scene. Yeah. Okay. I forget his name, but I was gonna say him or Limbo or the other affair haver, because Viking shoots him and he's sitting on a big inflatable like couch, and then Viking shoots the couch to make it all collapse on him. Funny.
And that was different than in Order of Disappearance, because he falls into a thing of powder.
Yeah.
It was that maybe cocaine that he falls into in Order of Disappearance. I think that my favorite death scene in Cold Pursuit, and both of them, I guess, is the one where he beats the shit out of the guy on the snowplow.
Yeah.
And then they just like roll around on the ground laughing for 5 minutes,
and then he shoots him.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
I gotta say, the guy that's having the affair with Dominic, he was a very interesting character, because he's one of the underlings of this drug lord, and he is the biggest wise ass to him the whole time. He's
the biggest wise ass to like a clearly psychotic person that everybody is afraid to stand up to. And this guy's just like, you know what?
Every line he says is Spider saying, "Why don't you go fuck yourself, Tommy?" Like every single one of his lines is the line that you think, "Oh man, you're probably going to get shot now." And he never does. Yeah, he never does. And then finally,
by the time that he gets killed, like, I know that Viking is supposed to be the bad guy and like he's killing his own people, and that's generally frowned upon. But by the time that guy got killed, I was like, okay, yeah, he was asking for it.
Well, no, by the time he killed him, I was like, man, that's the one that put you over the edge. That one wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, seriously, it was like a good idea. He was like, why don't you just apologize?
When Viking says, he was like, here's the thing about Indians. They all think that like this land belongs to them, like they were there first or something. And the guy's like, well, like, you know why they think that, right? Any like big laughs that stood out to you? Because I wrote down
4 of them, and we've already hit on the finale was one of them. The suitcase was one of them. So there's two other ones that I haven't brought up yet.
I thought that see, laughs. No, but I will say I thought it was a nice touch that when Santa died, they played a Christmas song.
Yes, yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. I like that little
and
touch.
Nothing to suggest that this movie happened around Christmas, other than
is it a Christmas movie?
Yes, right. Well, it snows the entire fucking time. One of the laughs, the big laughs that I wrote down was the Stockholm Syndrome joke.
That
was fucking unbelievable.
Great joke.
Yeah,
classic joke.
Unbelievable. That's the kind of shit that dark humor is supposed to be all about. Like Liam Neeson kidnaps this kid, and the kid is
he's well read.
Obviously, he's the Vikings kid, so like he's got a bad dad. Liam Neeson is nice to him. Immediately gets Stockholm Syndrome and brings it up.
I took it as he's like this straight A student. Just everything to him is like he has no personality. All he does is like math and play piano and everything, and so like he's got no personality. So like a kid his age wouldn't know what Stockholm Syndrome is. So that's why I thought that was so funny.
No, that's part of it, but I also think that it was hilarious that like he got Stockholm Syndrome with Liam Neeson and just immediately brought it up and was like, "Yeah, do you know what this is?"
The score to the movie was excellent.
I didn't even notice.
It was very like Wes Anderson, Grand Budapest Hotel type stuff. And it has a pace that's very much like Grand Budapest Hotel, which is why I call it Grand Budapest Hotaken, because it's just a combination of those two movies. And if you think, wait, those two movies would probably be really weird if you mix them together, that's why it's the weirdest movie I've ever seen in my life. Yes. I think it is fantastically, brilliantly bad. I'm probably going to see it like 5 more times. It fascinates me how bad this movie was.
My last big laugh that I had written down was the reservation joke at the hotel.
Oh yeah, they
that was so good.
You squeeze every drop out of that.
Yeah, and that was like the one joke that they didn't completely rip off from the original. So congrats to them on that. Was this the laziest movie that was ever made?
No, because they finished making it.
So you're gonna say I was actually gonna ask, like, is this lazier than The Snowman?
I mean, don't get me wrong, this was a very lazily made movie, but there's also, like, Greta Van Fleet isn't lazy because they work tirelessly to sound exactly like Led Zeppelin. A lot of work, I'm sure, was put in to make sure, like, so when people are like, ooh, the Live Aid scene in Bohemian Rhapsody looked just like Queen of Live Aid. No, it didn't. Not really, but it looked kind of like it, so good for that. This was a whole movie of... This scene looked exactly like that other scene in that other movie. It's an entire movie of that.
But I would say, like, just like in terms of, maybe you make a good point there, but like in terms of creativity, whoever wrote this movie should not get a writing credit.
The only other thing they added they added putting a $20 bill on a guy's penis. They did that.
Yeah, that's right. That was a completely unnecessary storyline, but whatever. So, it was a joke.
This is a bad movie, but I do recommend you see it because it's
absolutely it's fun to talk about.
Yeah, and like you've just got to see it for the end. I know that we've spoiled it, but you're going to be floored. You're going to be floored. And the in Order of Disappearance is on Netflix. So if you want to check that out and see Old Bill, then you can do that. Happy Death Day 2 comes out today, and if you're listening to this podcast, I'm probably already seeing the movie.
Yeah, you are. So this is a look into the future. We're recording this in separate places prior to the episode.
Prior to you hearing it. Yeah.
And predicting the future.
Yes.
Right now you're listening to this, and DJ is currently at the movies watching Happy Death Day to You.
And my phone is off. So if you tweet, "Hey, great episode," it's going to take me like 2 hours to get back to you.
Oh, my brother, I think that the moon is high. I rode that train car where the mountains meet the sky. And I drink whiskey, but I'm not drinking right. And I never learned to say goodbye. When I look into your eyes, hey, oh, hey, oh. When I met you, I was only 17. Man, those were the years that really took my life from me. I wish I had a job working on a tenant farm. Man, I would have grown okra, soybeans, and even corn. Till I met you, hey!